Today we looked at an episode of Strawberry Shortcake Berry Bitty Adventures called Berry Bitty Adventure. The episode starts off where the last one picked up, with nice smooth continuity. We continue with the technology fashion show, as Lemon and Raspberry are still working on their design, which includes a skirt which will also be a video screen that will play a video that they're going to record of Strawberry teaching the audience how to cook recipes. Currently they're filming the episode and Strawberry keeps blowing her lines and suffering all kinds of bloopers. Added on top of that is the city having major power outages. So, with Sour Grapes heckling Strawberry about her constantly flubbing her lines, Strawberry goes out to investigate why the power is going out. This leads us to the Berrykins, a species within the show that is kind of similar to the Doozers on Fraggle Rock. Not only were the Fraggles small creatures to begin with, just like Strawberry Shortcake is a small creature, the Doozers were even smaller than the Fraggles, just like the Berrykins are even smaller than Strawberry and her friends. And just like the Doozers, the Berrykins are dedicated to construction work, repairing things, fixing, building, and all that hard laborious type stuff. All the engineering, building, inventing, and etc. that Doozers aren't known for. They even have the little hard hats, just like the Doozers. Anyhow, Strawberry inquires as to what the problem is, and the one Berrykin explains that the whole situation is going to be repaired by the end of the day, and that tomorrow power should be on and it should stay on. While having this discussion, Strawberry's cousin, Apple Dumpling, another character being brought back from the previous generation, arrives in some kind of strange airborne vehicle that's being powered by both butterflies and technology. There's a lot of technology on Strawberry Shortcake's show that is like a strange hybrid of nature and science working together. So just sort of imagine the thing that's like a bus, but it's in the air and it's being pulled by butterflies, so it's kind of like a hot air balloon, but instead of the balloon and the fire, there's butterflies pulling it along with ropes, but it has all kinds of buttons and flashing lights that control where this contraption drives and how it maneuvers and all this other stuff. Anyhow, Apple Dumpling arrives on this thing and she unites with Strawberry and they start talking about Apple Dumpling. Apparently Apple Dumpling is some kind of adventurer who's been through volcanoes and waterfalls and snowboarding and all this extreme sports and thrill-seeking type stuff. She's also had a habit of making messes out of situations and annoying other people while being oblivious to the fact that her actions are either annoying or havoc-causing. There was a point in this episode where I was wondering if Apple Dumpling was being honest about her journeys or if she was exaggerating. But this point was never brought up in the series and it was never really important. Her honesty at this time is not the issue so much as the issue was her ability to be aware that her actions have consequences. The episode made me think it was being predictable, but ended up having some nice little twists I didn't see coming and took us off in a whole other direction. Apple Dumpling tries to entertain Strawberry with the best of intentions by playing music and flashing lights that she discovered on her exotic travels, but not having the foresight to program a way to turn the music and lights off, creating a noisy situation that makes it impossible for Strawberry to get to sleep that night, and impossible for herself to get to sleep without pitching a tent in the backyard where it's nice and quiet. Anyhow, we're supposed to pick up on the idea that the kid has amazing talents, but is too short-sighted to realize that what she's attempting to do is going to lead into some kind of disastrous situation, and she's also too oblivious of those around her to pay attention to the fact that others are suffering due to her little mishaps that she puts into motion. Anyhow, we get to the next day, and Strawberry Shortcake is so sleep deprived that she's pulling an apple butt season on us, trying to cook and read her lines while at the same time fighting her own fatigue. In the meantime, Apple Dumpling is reliving her adventurous days by tinkering with the local technology and creating a fountain that creates an artificial snowdrift for her to snowboard on. This leads to another major power outage, and the town loses power and gets blacked out, ruining the recording session that the girls were doing for their video. And the situation is investigated and they learned exactly what happened. Apple Dumpling feels bad about the whole thing and decides to leave. She gets into her flying contraption, makes some repairs to it, and it takes off into the sky and she leaves the town. But then one of the berrykins comes up to Strawberry and says that Apple Dumpling's tinkering with the technology around town has actually helped improve it. He's impressed by how technologically advanced Apple Dumpling's skills are and feels she has a real talent for this, and he wants her to stay in the city and continue doing technology and building and inventing and so forth. So Strawberry has to go fetch her and bring her back. She flies out riding on the back of a bird and finds Apple Dumpling, who's flying around and doing some inventing and tinkering, and convinces her to return to the city. This time when she realizes that she's actually needed, she decides to stay. Overall, the series is definitely something worth checking out. I hope you take the time to watch it. A few things that I took away from this is that, one, these characters are miniaturized to begin with. It seems kind of strange that in a world where everybody's miniaturized, that so too is all of their dogs and cats, their turtles, their technology, and everything else that they use. A lot of stuff that would typically be full-sized or gigantic next to them is actually really small. And even though they live in a world full of tiny dogs and tiny cats and tiny turtles and tiny vans, they also have full-sized gigantic birds. normal sized for a bird, but gigantic in comparison to them. Seems like the series can't make up whether it wants everything to be miniature or everything to be gigantic in comparison to the small little people. The other thing I noticed is that the technology, while in existence, does have a bit of a fantasy tone to it, utilizing elements of nature to produce the technology effect, much as it would on MLP, for example. Only the technology here is, of course, a lot more advanced than what the ponies deal with. The other interesting thing going on with the new season is there's been quite a few new characters added to the cast. Last season we added Huckleberry and we added Cherry Jam. This season we've added Sour Grapes, Sweet Grapes, and now Apple Dumpling. So a few episodes in and we are already 3 characters ahead, where last season took its sweet time to add 2 new characters. It'll be interesting to see if the cast continues to grow and get bigger over time. Anyhow, that's all I have to say on this particular review. Thanks for watching and good night.